In a world dominated by sports podcasts, three friends team up to bring you another one. Driven by the incessant need to argue with one another, the Context Matters podcast will toe the line between what they believe and what they believe will piss off their friend. Listen and enjoy as the group chat you never wanted to read becomes the podcast you hardly want to listen to. The bits are long, the rage bait is real, and the context matters.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us on episode 25. That's 5 squared. It's Tuesday, June 23rd. I'm Bill. With me as always are David and JMO. How we feeling, boys?
Yeah, thanks for that math lesson, sir. I'm so happy we had, are we really running out of stuff that quick to do for our intros? Yeah, I'm feeling all right. It's raining. It's raining again. It's going to rain all week. Ugh, gross. But whatever. At least I'm not in summer camp like my kid who has to start off with rainy days all week. Sucks to be him.
Yeah, hopefully packed an umbrella because this week doesn't look so good. But we're all rocking some fresh apparel that we all got off Father's Day. So shout out to our wives for coordinating that. That's pretty neat, pretty cool. So the viewers can see that. Other than that, things are good. Let's get this going.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely shout out the wives there. That was a pretty cool surprise on Father's Day morning.
Yeah.
So today there will be a short State of the Union from myself before we get into part 2 of JMO's easy and reasonable keys, interesting names, and goals on fantasy football. Then we will be talking hot topics from items around the NFL, another episode of David's Kooky Corner, and we end the show with a little segment called Anything Else, where we touch on, you guessed it, anything else. But first,
you did it.
A word from our presenting sponsor, Hyatt Trucks.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable waste removal services, or worse, the weekly dump trip? Say hello to Hyatt Trucks Waste Removal, Southern New Hampshire's top choice for dependable disposal. Based in Milford, New Hampshire, they serve Hillsborough County and beyond, including Milford, Nashua, Bedford, Manchester, and Peterborough. They're a family-owned business with over 70 5-star Google reviews, are fully insured, and ready to handle any waste removal needs. They offer flexible roll-off dumpsters and are now offering 2- and 4-yard dumpsters to be picked up weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. They offer comprehensive junk removal services, hauling away furniture, appliances, yard waste, and more. But let's talk about what can really make a difference in your week. Hyatt offers weekly curbside trash pickup to Milford, New Boston, Bedford, Jaffrey, Peterborough, New Ipswich, and surrounding towns, beginning at just $40 a month. With provided barrels, options for recycling, and reliable pickups on time, every time. Ready to join the Hyatt Trucks family? Head to HIOTT-TRUX.com and sign up using code CONTEXT to let them know we sent you. Hyatt Trucks, you chuck it, we truck it, making waste removal simple and stress-free.
Thank you for that, JMO. Absolutely. And the reason that I was able to get through the anything else segment without messing up is because I messed up earlier in the intro. So, I was for one mess up and I did it earlier. So I was able to get through the anything else unscathed.
Good job.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Well, you shouldn't be because I still messed up, just in a different spot. Anyway, so I'm here to give a little State of the Union. The last time I did this was after Wild Card Weekend.
Yes.
And that was also an ugly weekend for me. So my State of the Union, for those viewers, eagle-eyed viewers who watched our YouTube live premiere, maybe caught it afterwards, JMO and I played our one-on-one that we were talking that we were going to play. And all I have to say, I have no excuses, but shooters get cold, Shooters get cold. It didn't help that it was the double rim from hell. The backboard was dented. No excuses. Every time I went to shoot, the sun got in my eye. I don't know. No excuses. But worst of all, I agreed to play a one-on-one basketball game against Jeremiah Mello, JMO. I did not agree to play a one-on-one basketball against Jackie Moon, former professional basketball player of the Flint, Michigan Tropics, JMO. Therefore, we will be running it back, and there will be a new Context Matters one-on-one this fall to be scheduled because I need to play JMO, not former professional basketball player Jackie Boone. And I am fully confident that I will wipe the floor with you on a rematch.
That's ridiculous. I'm just going to get
that wasn't you.
You have to know that I'm just going to get a different wig, right? Like we're going to run it back with another wig and another outfit.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
that's
talking
fantastic. I'm super happy for you. Look, this is just how it goes, man. You can't get off the couch and play a sport and expect to beat somebody who plays that sport. It's just silly. And yes, shooters do get cold for a couple shots, not for an entire quarter or a half or a game. So I'm going to say you're going to have to put up quite a bit more shots if you want to come after the king. And I mean, I felt like I had kind of an ugly match, but at the same time, I mean, my numbers were pretty decent. I'm happy with it.
I was going to say, you or whoever I was playing, Jackie Moon, played phenomenally. I don't predict Jackie Moon or whoever I play will play that well again. We'll change up our defensive strategy. I'm working on a strength training coach. We're gonna change it. We're gonna get some bounce into that defense. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about this rematch. It won't be 2 years since the last time I touched a basketball. The next time we play. So
that's true.
No excuses. No excuses.
Honestly, for the record, none of us knew JMO was going to show up looking the way he did.
And also, I didn't even know it until the day of.
Yeah, none of us expected him to play the way he did. You were phenomenal. You hit a lot of tough shots that I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't too bad. Billy wasn't exactly playing lock-up defense, so it's kind of just like shoot around for me.
So he didn't beat you with his cardio like he said he was gonna? Cardio and shot making?
I mean, he said he could out-hustle me, which he needed.
Defense. Oh, that's what it was.
He needed it if he was going to grab all of his rebounds. Yeah. But, yeah, tough look for Bill, but we'll see how he does in the fall, which I did not want to play another game because I won, and I don't need to prove anything, but apparently I'm getting roped into another one, so guess we'll be doing that.
I will just say that it might have been a tough day for me, but I lost to a former professional basketball player, Jackie Moon, in the Flint, Michigan Tropics. And then David gave my ego a little boost. So,
be a cripple.
David's a broken man. David is a broken man.
I felt good. But I guess it's kind of like I felt good for like the past year feeling like junk. Then I watched some of the video of it. I'm like, wow, I still limp and I'm not even like close to anything versus what I should be. So yeah, if we do it again, I'll definitely try and get back a little bit better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're doing it again. I
can't jump. I can't run. So hopefully I get some of that burst and what way I can back, and it'll be more of a matchup. But like you said, it's tough. I haven't touched a basketball in probably like 6-7 years. So so yeah, can't be as ugly. Hopefully it'll be better.
All right, let's move on.
I was going to say, despite you subbing in a professional basketball player, Jackie Moon in the Flint, Michigan Tropics, instead of playing on your own, I am gracious enough, since you didn't want to play. I think the format of the game, the next time we play, will be a reverse order of what we just did. So it'll be David and me playing for the right to play the person who shouldn't be in the championship match because they weren't even there that day. Jeremiah,
that's rude. I can't stand this.
Not Jackie Moon, J-Bo.
Yeah, you got to find some pickup now that your little league's over. What are you gonna do to stay active?
That's true. Honestly, after the way that I saw Bill play, and I'm good to just take it off. I don't need to practice. Maybe I'll play some 2K on Xbox.
Hey, it looks a lot different when you're going up against a pro than when you're going against, someone on your level.
Semi-pro.
Yeah, there you go. Semi. Good call. Okay, so let's get into the actual episode. JMO's easy and reasonable keys, interesting names, and goals on fantasy football. JMO, over to you.
I don't know why you have to read it like that. Yeah, so yesterday, last episode, I went over some keys and some tips that I like during drafting. And so this episode, I want to touch on some specific names to go along with some of those tips. I'm not going to give away all the draft strategy in the world because, we play in leagues and I want to keep it competitive, but I will give up some players here, and it's keep in mind it's not just the players that I'm giving up, but it's the reasons why I'm kind of mentioning them. If you see other people that kind of fall in line with what I'm saying, don't be afraid to draft those guys too. Uh, it's really all concept related. So you want to try and obviously build the best team that you can starting with the draft, and then from there you still need to make trades throughout the season and make some good waiver wire plays and really look ahead at what's going on in order to continue to be successful. Like very, very rarely does somebody draft a team and then hardly make any pickups, don't make any trades, everybody stays healthy and they win the whole thing. It just doesn't usually happen. So this will give you a good starting point, and then from there, you try and make some trades, make some pickups, avoid some bye weeks from hell, and hopefully your guys will play well in the playoffs. Because at that point, anybody who makes the playoffs, it's anybody's game. The stronger teams do tend to win out, but it's very, very unpredictable because now you're on a one-game basis. So with that being said, we'll get into it. So I'll go over a couple values that I like first. And I like calling them values over sleepers because I think when you talk about sleepers, it kind of gets misconstrued of like, what's a sleeper? You tend to think of somebody in the 12th, 13th, 14th round, something like that, who's going to play really well. Sleepers are very difficult to predict. That doesn't usually happen. Um, I'd rather say something like values of like somebody you can get, even if you get them in the 4th round, but they play really, really well. That's still a value. So not just talking about somebody who's an absolute late round pick. So I'll give you guys one from each position that I like, and you guys can kind of chime in and tell me what you think. So we'll start with quarterback. I like for a value Malik Willis. Malik Willis, not as a starting quarterback. I do want to make that clear. But if you're looking for a backup some point later in the draft, or if you're following my rules from last week, if you're kind of punting quarterback down the road and you take your first quarterback in the 8th or 9th round or something like that, and they might not be an every week starter and you want to get a little bit more depth at the position, I really like Malik Willis. And it's exactly what I talked about last week. It's because of his rushing ability. Obviously, that Dolphins offense looks terrible this year. But it's still an NFL team, and they're going to have to put some points on the board. So I think Malik Willis being able to run and being an efficient player gives him the ability to make something happen even when the game looks out of hand or whatever. They're going to have to be putting up points because their defense isn't spectacular either. And I think a lot of that's going to come down to him scrambling and making it happen with his feet. So I think that for somebody going in the 12th round, it's really somebody that can kind of give you a boost and play a lot better than you think. And I think he's going to be cheap. I don't think anybody's trying to go out of their way to get Malik Willis. And then one other thing that I want to bring up for you super hardos out there looking for an extra edge, every quarter or every platform for fantasy football will rank guys a little bit differently. Like when you see them pop up in the queue of who that platform thinks that you should draft next. So be aware of that in where you're drafting. So specifically, like as we're talking about Malik Willis, on the sleeper app, he's usually going around round 14, but on ESPN, he's going around round 10. And so it's one of those things where it's like you got to know what platform you're playing on, what your league likes to do if they're going to draft quarterbacks early, whatever. And that's another thing to find value. Like I said, Malik Willis definitely has value if you're getting him in the 14th round. If you're picking him up in the 10th round, I don't think you're getting that value anymore. So another thing to kind of point out about the value is where you're actually getting them. But what do you guys think about Malik Willis and what he may or may not be able to do this season?
Yeah, I think that's a rough call to say Miami's offense looks awful. They still have Devon Etienne.
I hate you for that. Thank you
Name
so
a
much.
wide receiver from the Dolphins.
Devontae Parker.
Wes
Welker. Brandon Marshall.
No. I would say, who is it? No, they have a Malik Washington. Yeah, Malik Washington. I think that's their number one wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him for being a good value, especially the later rounds. Like you said, if you get him where he's projected to go, then it's not much of a value. But if you can get him later in the draft, because he's probably going to fall for those reasons. But last year when he came in for Jordan Love, he tore it up. They also don't have many weapons in Green Bay, so maybe he's used to doing a lot with little, and hopefully he can replicate that success down in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another value potentially at the quarterback position, in more of a serious note, David brought up last week. I think it's Jackson Dart. I think
Mhm.
if he stays healthy, and that's a big if, I think he is going to perform beyond where he's getting drafted fairly significantly. So obviously it's a high boom bust,
Yep.
not
Yeah.
maybe top end performer, but right up there, and probably won't be drafted like it.
So yeah,
Yeah.
on
Probably.
ESPN right now, Jackson Dart is ranked 7, but who knows
Okay,
if he's
maybe
gonna
that's a little high.
fall, But I mean, he's also not like a
Yeah.
super popular name. Like obviously you got Caleb Williams behind him, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Mahomes, Herbert, So it's like who knows if those guys are gonna get drafted ahead just because they have that household name instead of
Yep.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, definitely. And again, somebody like Stafford's a good one to bring up because if you're playing in a league with a bunch of really sharp fantasy football players that have been doing it for a long time, they're going to be hesitant to get Matthew Stafford because they've seen the old quarterbacks that break down and whatever. They don't care that, he just came off of an MVP season. They want to get the younger, more talented, potentially more explosive player. And Matt Stafford typically hasn't had great seasons in back-to-back years. Where somebody else who is newer to fantasy football might look at it and go, he won MVP last year and look how late the rounds are getting. I'm going to take Matt Stafford. And it could go either way. He could break down and whatever. And then the old fantasy vets will be like, see, this is why you don't do that. Or he has another phenomenal season and they're looking there and being like, oh, I guess, it was just last year that he won MVP. Maybe we shouldn't have been so quick to cut him out. It, you never know how it's
Yeah.
going to happen, but that's where if you know who you're playing with, it kind of helps.
Yeah, the Rams, I feel like, are putting too many chips on the table for Matt Stafford to lay a dud. I can definitely see him finishing like top 5 fantasy wise again
Yeah.
because they have to. They don't have a choice. They just got Myles Garrett. They got Trent McDuffie. They got all these players, giant contracts. They're doing it to send him off to
Aaron
Peyton
Donald.
Manning. Yeah.
Hopefully, I'd
Eli.
love to see that. I think that'd be a cool story.
Yeah.
I think I would
Okay.
too.
So my value quarterback, I'm gonna stay on track with what I've been saying. Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
KOC, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, decent line, great play caller. He's ranked 16 right now, and he
Yep.
could even fall a little lower than that. But like JMO said, if it's competitive at the quarterback position and you're like fighting for it, he's probably not unless he like slides. Then it's a good value. But I can definitely see him finishing in like the top 10 because talked about it last week. The quarterbacks that can run and
Yeah.
throw are great for fantasy.
Totally.
They also just added Juwan Jennings, so that's
Oh,
that's
true.
huge for him too. Like that's a solid wide receiver room, like top end wide
Absolutely.
receiver room.
Yep. Yeah. So another one that could go really, really well. So moving on to the
But they
running
are
back
releasing a new
position.
Call of Duty this year, so
Yeah. Well, they do that every year, so it's tough. So at the running back position, I'm going to say that my value is Jalen Warren. And part of the reason is because, like, anytime where you don't quite know who the starter of a team is going to be, you want to attack those running backs, especially because of the fact that if you're right, you could be really, really right and grab a huge value there. With Jalen Warren, he's going between rounds 6 and 7 on most platforms. Yeah, there it is. But he did, he had almost 1,000 rushing yards last season. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. He had a lot of work inside the 20, like in the red zone area, which is always good to see. And then he tacked on another 40 catches for over 300 yards and 2 more touchdowns there. Um, Kenny Gainwell really kind of took off for that team, especially towards the middle of the season and moving on. Kenny Gainwell actually ended up being the leader for receptions on that Pittsburgh Steelers team that had DK Metcalf, which is really sad. But Kenny Gainwell's not there anymore, and they bring in Rico Dowdle, who obviously Rico Dowdle had some really good games with the Panthers last year. He had back-to-back games of over 200 rushing yards. But if Jalen Warren can stay on the field, he's going to get all the receiving work. Like Rico Dowdle really doesn't catch a lot of balls. And the only reason Jalen Warren didn't catch more last year was because Kenny Gainwell was taking it from him because he was kind of a little bit better at it. But Jalen Warren is still a good receiver in his own right. So with no Kenny Gainwell, I think Jalen Warren is going to be able to catch a lot of balls. And I don't think that Rico Dowdle is going to step into that role. And personally, I think that Jalen Warren is still going to be the mainly between the tackles guy. I don't think that Rico is going to usurp him. So if you believe that as well, I think Jalen Warren is somebody that could be a solid RB2 for you. And if you're drafting him that late, there's a good chance he's your RB3, which makes it an even better value.
Yeah, I think that's a fair pick. I won't pretend to assume that I know everything going on in the Pittsburgh running back room. When you mentioned last week that if you have a great intuition about how a running back room might shake out, maybe you should take it. I'm probably going to be one of those people who defaults more to a bell cow back early on and then maybe tries to pick up some flyer pieces in the end. But so I think my value pick that I was thinking on, and this is probably going right along with the Jackson Dart thing that I think might be a value, and it's probably everybody's already surpassed me. But Ashton Genty's situation got so much better from last year to this year. And I feel like if people are looking at yards per carry or even just like he put up good numbers last year, but not like astounding numbers. But you add
Right.
Tyler Linderbaum, you get a serviceable quarterback in Kirk Cousins, at least for the first few weeks. Who knows how that winds up shaking out? But I like the concept of Ashton Genty in a much more functional situation in Vegas this year as opposed to last year. And we'll talk about Geno Smith a little bit later and some of that dysfunction. But
That's true.
But no, I really like Ashton Genty kind of as an even higher top end. I'm sure he's definitely top 10, probably even like top 6 or 7.
Yeah. So Ashton Genty is going right now on average. He's going at the 2-3 turn. I will also be talking about Ashton Genty later, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I
think he has that good boomer bust potential. I mean, definitely Kubiak going to the Raiders. You got Kirk Cousins. You got a rookie quarterback. You're gonna have to run the ball a lot. The only question is, are they gonna be losing a lot? So therefore, he might not run so much, which is kind of one of those things you're gonna have to balance. But he's also a receiving back, so he will be able to get the ball in the backfield, and he's a playmaker. So you get the ball in his hands, no matter how you can get it there, he'll make plays. So my great value for running back would be David Montgomery from the Texans. Texans just traded for him from the Lions. If he can stay healthy, he should get a lot of touchdowns. They struggled last year getting the ball in the end zone. So that's the name of his game. He is a high-scoring fantasy running back, and he's ranked out of the running backs 26. So he's definitely bottom tier.
Yeah.
And he should be pretty much the bell cow. Yeah, they got Woody Marks as like a sprinkle guy, but for the most part, it should be David Montgomery's position.
Yeah, with that
definitely.
great defense, they're going to be playing a lot of low-scoring games too, and a lot of grind games. So that's a really good pick. You put more thought into it than I did.
Up until now, CJ Stroud, as of late, has not shown any real ability to take over a game with his arm. Davis Mills has his backup, but so with all those contributing things between a good defense and not a great passing offense, it does leave a lot for a running back to come in and take over. So David Montgomery definitely could do that.
Yeah. Davis Mills takes over the game with his neck.
Dude, such a long neck. It's so silly. Moving on to wide receiver. So I know I've said it before in the podcast, and I'm just going to keep saying it. And maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't think I am. Josh Downs. Josh Downs on the Colts is one of my favorite picks this year. There's no more Michael Pittman there to take up the targets. And Alec Pierce is definitely going to be the deep ball guy that he was last year. He's going to be the same thing this year coming up. Tyler Warren is definitely going to eat into some targets that Josh Downs is going to see. But at the end of the day, they're both going to be on the field at the same time because they throw out a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. And Josh Downs is going to be the starting slot wide receiver. It's not even close. And he's just an uber talented guy on a team that we project to have a pretty good offense. So I really like Josh Downs there. Like I said, no more Michael Pittman. And I don't think that Tyler Warren could take all the catches in the middle of the field. So I think Josh Downs is going to do really, really well. And even when they move to 2 wide receiver sets, I like to think that Josh Downs is going to be the one playing on the outside there as well. so he's going to have opportunities there. I think he pairs really well with what Alec Pierce is able to do. So I just don't. I have a really hard time seeing a world that Josh Downs doesn't work out for fantasy. And I mean, he's going in round 10 or later. So another guy that like you can feel confident after you draft him, having him in your flex spot most weeks.
I think that's a good one. So I'm going to double dip. A few weeks ago when we were doing our predictions for awards, I predicted Jeremy Bernard to have a big year because I don't believe in DK Metcalf and I don't believe in Michael Pittman. So similar to your connection from Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, I'll connect Jeremy Bernard to Michael Pittman, and I think Jeremy Bernard is gonna have a big season. I know you guys pointed out that Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust rookies much, so hopefully Jeremy Bernard's hitting those books. But I think he is easily the most talented from a wide receiver perspective, not pure athlete perspective. Wide receiver in that room. So I predict him to have a pretty good season, and I think he is a great value pick, assuming
he's
he
free.
is roughly where I assume he is, which is you can get him right after the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody's getting him. We'll leave him for you if you really want him. I like how you're doubling down, though. I mean,
good for you.
This is Rookie of the Year, Fantasy Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Okay. So my value, I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle because that Sean Payton offense, it needs that vertical field stretcher. They traded for him. They traded a lot of capital for him, so they have to use him. He's got to be their number one if they trade all that for him, and they still have to pay him. So yeah, I think he'll fit into what like Ted Ginn Jr. You think about all those super fast guys from the Saints that just took the top off, and it just helps that whole offense go. So I definitely don't hate him.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton's obviously another year older, and then behind him, it's just like this mix of Pat Bryant, I guess, would probably be their wide receiver 3, and then Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin, whatever. But it's probably going to be Jalen Waddle for the most part.
It's also Bo Nix.
I like it. It is Bo Nix, who threw for almost 4,000 yards last year. I was the lowest on Bo Nix out of all of our ratings, which is crazy. I might regret that. We'll see. All right, moving on to tight end. So tight end is funny to pick a value for because, again, if you listened last week, I believe if you don't get one of the top tight ends, don't bother. Just get anybody, and it pretty much doesn't matter. If you are looking for somebody that, if you really punt it all the way down, Juwan Johnson of the Saints is going in the middle of the 12th round. He's always been a solid player for the Saints, especially when a wide receiver goes down. I will give you the ways that it goes wrong. They have Chris Olave. If Chris Olave stays healthy and plays the way that he did last year, that's a lot of targets getting eaten up there. And then the new rookie, Jordan Tyson, who I imagine they're going to try and get involved quite a bit. And then Travis Etienne Jr. grabbing a bunch of dump offs in the intermediate time. Like that's where this goes wrong. However, if Travis Etienne is not grabbing a lot of those dump offs, or if Olave gets hurt again, or if Jordan Tyson is coming along slow as a rookie, if any of those things happen, Juwan Johnson is absolutely the next person in line to get targets. That's just how that offense has run since he's been on the team. When he has an opportunity, when somebody goes down, he makes the most of it. And he's just a very talented tight end, and they don't pull him like he does block a little bit, but for the most part, when he's in there, they're looking to get him the ball on catches. He's not really the George Kittle type. So I like Juwan Johnson, obviously, as a Saints fan. So if you don't get one of those top guys early, and like I said, you're really punting it down, and you're between a couple names, I like Juwan Johnson a lot if you need a plug and play kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't really have a value for tight end, but I will just ask you, do you know if Travis Etienne and Devon Etienne are related at all?
If you died, nobody would care. That's the thing. Well, and that's the funny thing, because obviously, like, we called him Travis Etienne for so long, and now we have to find a way to say Etienne, which is obviously really difficult. But it's probably worth bringing up that his brother is a running back on the Panthers, and since he came into the league last year, we were kind of also saying Trevor Etienne, and I guess now we have to say Trevor Etienne. I don't think that their running back Jonathan Brooks should finally be healthy after basically playing out J.K. Dobbins' career with his knee injuries over and over. But so hopefully we don't have to talk about Trevor Etienne because I'm going to mess up his name just as much.
You're doing a lot better than I would be.
Yeah,
It's
we're all
tough.
gonna mess up his name forever.
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor. Okay, so my
Tyrod.
value for tight end would probably be Tucker Kraft, which is a shame because he is a kind of a high tier tight end. He's ranked 8, but I could definitely see him like being a top 5 tight end by the end of the year.
Yeah,
He is coming off an ACL, so that maybe that's why he's ranked a little low. But when he
that is.
plays, he
Yeah,
should be like their number 1 target because he is the best
Yep.
pass catcher in that offense. So I do like
Definitely.
Tucker Kraft a lot.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he's ranked low is because of his injury. And it's funny because that was when he came into the league, they drafted him and Luke Musgraves. And that first year, Luke Musgraves was getting most of the targets and Tucker Kraft was an afterthought. And then whatever happened that summer in between, Tucker Kraft came in and started playing really well. And then last year, before he got hurt, yeah, he was on pace to be pretty much tight end 1 in fantasy. He was absolutely disgusting, and his playmaking ability was huge. So if he can get back healthier sooner, definitely somebody that is worth taking a flyer on. And even if you draft him and then take another tight end really late to fill in the gaps if he's not there for the first couple of weeks, that's also a strategy you could employ. Again, I don't like rostering 2 tight ends, but it's something you
Yeah.
can do. It's not the most unreasonable thing, especially in that circumstance.
What do you think about Harold Fannin Jr.? Because I know he plays for the Browns. He came in last year kind of, I don't know, halfway through the season, but he kind of took off Worcester, and he pretty much had Njoku
Pro
shipped out of town because how well he played. So is he right now? He's ranked 5. What are your thoughts?
So I think that Harold Fannin is absolutely legit. I love the fact that his college game completely translated to the NFL. So for those of you who don't know, he went to Bowling Green, which is not a very big college school at all. So a lot of times when you have players coming out of these small schools, you don't really care what their stats are that they put up because again, like Bill loves to bring up, they're going against lawyers and plumbers and whatever. However, so his last year at Bowling Green, he had over 100 receptions for over 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns in 13 games. So 13 games, 115 or 1,500 receiving yards. So he was the offense. They peppered him all game long, every single game. And when the Browns got him, they did the same thing. It was always him coming across the field, doing these slant routes that everybody loves to run in Madden, these crossers, stuff like that. And they just kept giving him the ball and he kept making stuff happen with it. And I don't think that that's accidental, especially considering that's what he made a living on in college. So even though it is a bad offense, the good side of it is that the plays designed for Harold Fannin are easy. They're close to the line of scrimmage. Even if you're getting pressured, you can get the ball out to him pretty quickly. So I don't really see a world where that doesn't continue. And now, obviously, they don't have David Njoku there. So I think Harold Fannin is legit and somebody that I like. But in the terms of fantasy, he's going right in that round of like, who are you not drafting in order to get him? Harold Fannin's currently going in the 6th round, somewhere around 6, 7. So who are you giving up there to get him? And that's what makes it a little bit difficult. That's kind of where you're giving up possibly, Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Warren, like we talked about. It's kind of like, how are you building your roster? DK Metcalf, Marvin Harrison Jr., those are all guys going around that range. So you have to really be strong in your convictions. And again, I would rather have the depth at wide receiver or running back at that point in the draft. But if you started to punt tight end and he's still available and you're like, actually, I want to pull the trigger on this because it could be, somebody that separates me at the position compared to other people I play, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Todd Monken coming over from Baltimore definitely helps him out because So you want about their talent on offense? They definitely threw the ball a lot to their tight ends, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. So I think it's going to benefit him as well, just by scheme and play design.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. I have 3 thoughts before we move on to the busts.
Sure.
First of all, David, it's Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders.
Legendary Pro Bowler.
Second of all, he did not get Njoku shipped out of town. And Njoku was a free agent and signed with an objectively better team.
No, he signed with the Chargers.
And third, hopefully Tucker Kraft doesn't make appointments at Orchids of Asia because that might get confusing. JMO, and your busts.
That's terrible. I hate you so much. And don't talk about my busts. So I'm going to start off again at the quarterback position. My bust at quarterback is going to be Jordan Love. And I want to make it very clear, it's not his fault. I think he is a very talented quarterback. And Josh Jacobs just happened to come into town and take over because Josh Jacobs is really good. If they had to lean on Jordan Love, I think he could have supported that team. But as of right now, his starting running back is still in jail, so that doesn't help. Christian Watson is supposed to take over this offense, but he is hurt every single year. They have a rookie last year in Matthew Golden that was way overdrafted and played like dog water. And then Jaden Reed is just somebody who is only on the field 50% of the time. He's absolutely electric the 3 times a game that he touches the ball, but unfortunately he's really not out there that much. So all that in combination with Tucker Kraft coming off of an injury, I just don't see a world where Jordan Love, like if you're getting him in, let's say the 11th round where he's going and he's your quarterback 1, I would be scared. If you got a bunch of depth at other positions and think, okay, now I can still get a solid quarterback here, there's a lot of ways for it to go wrong for Jordan Love. And it's not talent. Like I said, I love his talent, but all the other things happening with that team makes me very, very nervous to have Jordan Love as my starting quarterback in a league.
JMO, I think you did some very good clarifications there. I really appreciated it. You really protected his ego. I have 3 quarterback busts. I have Drake May, Bo Nix, and Jalen Hurts. They are all relatively high draft value picks, and I think or draft position picks, and I think they're all just awful quarterbacks. And I think the truth will tell. I think another year of tape on Drake will be huge for the league, especially after he was caught in the AFC Championship game talking about how the game was moving too fast with tears in his eyes. I think Jalen Hurts is done for, especially after trading away A.J. Brown and the Eagles. So all 3 of those quarterbacks do have rushing upside, so I understand that's going against me, but they're all just mediocre to awful quarterbacks. The end.
Damn, that's rude.
Too awful? I thought you said 3 of them.
Just so,
Just
so
mediocre
everybody
to
knows.
Awful.
Shut up.
Mediocre to awful, like a scale.
So just so everybody knows,
these are 2 awful
Bo Nix,
quarterbacks.
Then Jalen Hurts.
Bill and I are working on a bet to share with you guys for the beginning of the season specifically about Jalen Hurts, because I'm not even the biggest Jalen Hurts fan, but I think he's going to play so much better than Billy thinks he's going to play. So we'll bring that to you once we finalize the I don't know what you want to call it, what we consider is
terms.
A good season. Yeah, the terms.
Yeah,
there you
we need to get the details out.
T's and C's, terms and conditions.
Where's Justin Herbert getting drafted, GMO? I'm just curious.
Justin
I
Herbert?
care about real football. I don't care about fantasy.
Me pull this up right here. Justin Herbert is getting, so let's start up at the top. Drake May is getting drafted on average in the 5th round. Justin Herbert is getting drafted. So 5th round, Jalen Hurts getting drafted in the 6th round.
Too high.
And then we got Justin Herbert getting drafted in the 8th round.
Wow. Too low. That's a value. I could have brought that up.
That's a good value.
There you go. Yeah, it could be. But oppositely, Bo Nix is getting drafted in the 10th round, and I think that that's a value considering that he can run the ball and make these easy dump offs. He got a new weapon in Jalen Waddle, so I don't know. I think I'm going to go opposite of you and say that Bo Nix is a value.
Yeah, I think Drake May is fairly placed. Reports out of minicamp are he is doing very well. His knowledge of the offense
well in minicamp.
Well, he's doing stuff Justin Herbert's not doing like year 10, so you better calm your horses. I've never
Like
seen
what?
that guy do an audible in his life. You know
That's a
it's
good
true.
point. I thought it was just called minicamp for Kyler, and that everybody else was playing a regular camp.
Okay, so my bust for quarterback, I'm going to be also consistent with what I've always said. Jaden Daniels, he is way too high on this list. He is the third best quarterback right now. He hasn't played in like 2 seasons. So, new
Yeah, right.
offense, new weapons. He only has Scary Terry. Everybody else has like left the building. Um, yeah, I don't know what to expect from Washington. I don't think they're going to be any good this year because, yeah, I think they just got really lucky that one year, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, I'm going to be consistent. I say Jaden.
That's fair. I hope for my dynasty league that is not correct, but I guess we'll see.
Can you remind the folks how you came about getting Jaden Daniels in that dynasty league?
Yeah, I traded him straight up for Justin Herbert, and I still don't regret it yet. Give me a season, and I'll let you know how I feel. But I'll be all right. So moving on to my running back busts, this is where I'm going to bring up Ashton Genty. And much like Jordan Love, it has nothing to do with talent. I think Ashton Genty is an incredibly talented runner. He dominated everybody in college, and he played really well last year. He just didn't quite return on where he was drafted. And I see another thing happening this year. So he's going at the 2-3 turn. And that's somewhere where you are likely going to be taking him as your number 1 running back. And that is what I don't want. If you tell me Ashton Genty is your number 2, sure. But if he's your number 1 running back, the Raiders are in a very difficult division. They have an old, broken Kirk Cousins and a rookie and Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. So I don't expect them to win a lot of games. And historically, bottom 5 offenses never produce great running backs. And you need Ashton Genty to be great to have any hope on a reasonable return on investment at where he's going. So again, a bust pick, not because I think he's going to be bad, not that I think he's a bad player, but I think where you're drafting him is going to ultimately end up being a bust for what he's going to be able to produce for you.
Yeah, I have 2 bust names. I completely disagree with you on Genty, obviously, like I said before. I understand your reasoning. I'm not even saying that's not sound. I just think he's going to put together a great year, especially like last year. 99% of his issue on a still horrible offense was that offensive line, which they've done really well to at least bolster, at least at the center position. And I think they added a couple other offensive linemen too. I have 2 bust cases. One is something I never want to root for, but CMC was healthy all of last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. So it's not a true bust in terms of performance. I would bet against him staying healthy for another fantasy football season. And then my second, and this is just a shout out for all of you who are playing fantasy out there, pay attention. It is Atlanta's B. Robinson Jr. Ryan Robinson. So just remember that there are 2 B. Robinson Jr.'s on the Atlanta Falcons depth chart running back, and you want the one whose name is Bijan, not Brian. So somebody will draft him first overall and be buried.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I will definitely bring if you do draft Bijan early, as in like the first pick, because that's where he's going ish. If you do have Bijan Robinson, you absolutely should in the I don't know, let's see, Brian Robinson is going on average in the 12th round. If you have Bijan Robinson, don't be afraid to reach in the 10th round for Brian Robinson to make sure that you have that handcuff, because again, if Bijan goes down, that is a very running back friendly offense, and Brian Robinson could definitely get it done. Just don't make the mistake week 1 starting the wrong one or the whole rest of the season. That's going to be tough. But again, back to the handcuff thing, not a bad idea if you can get that. If you have a handcuff for somebody that you like, even if you're scrolling down a little bit in your list, if you're playing with some really fantasy football savvy guys, draft the people that you want and don't just say, oh, he'll still be here three rounds from now. He might not. So if you have somebody that you have a strong conviction on or definitely want as a handcuff, make sure that you're getting them, not necessarily reaching multiple rounds for them, but if they're at a position where you feel like you can take them, but you might want to wait one more round, don't. it'll almost always come back to bite you.
Yeah. So my bust will be Devon Achane, because I just don't know how I feel about a bunch of Green Bay guys going to Miami. Right after like the Joe Philbin days where pretty much same thing happened. And the team was just a dumpster fire. So just like yet to be TBD. So
Yeah.
I just don't know if I trust him to be like a top 5 running back at that. Maybe not like a bust, but I don't think he's going to finish where he's getting drafted. I think he's just drafted too high right now. And yeah, last year they pretty much gave him the ball a lot, and the more touches you get the next year, you usually kind of fall off. And maybe that might be this year, but also that offense doesn't have a ton of talent around him, so I can just see him getting like murdered all the time. He's not like a big guy, so
Yeah. See, he's going at the 2-3 turn with Genty as well. I mean, he's going at the 1-2 turn.
The 1-2.
I love Devon Achane. I would have no problem with him as my number 1 running back. So that's interesting. He's just so fast and so talented.
so fast.
I think what side of the 1-2 turn matters a lot too. Like if we're explaining how snake draft works here, like what side of the 1-2 turn? If you're say in a draft league at 12 and you're picking 10, you could get both of those people realistically and get Achane at the 10 and then
Genty.
Achane at the 10, then Genty at the 14. And then he is your running back too. So it's like the 1-2 turns kind of, I don't know, it could mean a few different things depending on which draft position you are, or even like the 9 and the 15.
Right, definitely. And that's another thing too, especially when you're on the turn and you know you have another pick coming right up. If you're between 2 people or whatever, you have to play the game of seeing what the other team has and where you think they're going to draft and then go accordingly on that if you really want to build that out sound. And then, like I said, make sure you have a backup plan in case your guy gets taken. So here's one that I know David's not going to like. My bust at wide receiver, DJ Moore. I talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. He was an absolute shell of himself last year. He was only used in the screen game. There was no big plays on his end to speak of at all. And I mean, it was sad to watch because the DJ Moore of old is just not there anymore. And I know that the idea of pairing him with Josh Allen is super juicy, but they have a really good running game, both with their running back and their quarterback, right? Josh Allen spreads the ball around a lot to a million different receivers. I mean, every game you're seeing catches from Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid and whoever else they have there, Khalil Shakir and all these other guys. So he does like to spread the ball around a lot. And, DJ Moore is going in the area of like the end of the 5th, beginning of the 6th. And again, the other players around that area when they're getting drafted, I know what they are, and I have a pretty good idea of how they're going to be used. I think it's an absolute Hail Mary to throw on DJ Moore on your team at that point in the draft and think that it's going to work out just because he's playing with a better quarterback now. So I don't like DJ Moore at all this year. I will be avoiding him in every single draft. I don't care how late he goes. I'm not doing it.
I'll take him. I'll take him for you. I like him a lot because the Bills wide receiver room is subpar. They can't figure out their number one. He made Amari Cooper. They traded for him, I think the year before last year, halfway through the season, made him look great. And then, you know what? He just retires at the end of the year because he had a good career. Oh, yeah. Last year they get Brandon Cooks, another just kind of older veteran guy. And yeah, just instantly turns into a number 1 receiver, gets all the looks, all the balls. So, I mean, DJ Moore at 26, I mean, the name's kind of above him. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of subpar, some of these names. So, yeah, I think if you can get him at the right spot, it's a good value, but you don't want to reach for him, that's for sure.
One of the stats that I think of, and I'm pretty sure this is exactly how the stat goes, is that in 2024, Josh Allen was the first quarterback to finish number 1 and not have a single wide receiver on his team finish in the top 32 in fantasy of all wide receivers. And then he did it again in 2025. So just goes to show you he's going to get it done between him and James Cook, no matter who's on the team. And I just don't see somebody coming in and demanding targets because They've never needed anybody to do it. They don't need the Stephon
They
Diggs that
need
they
him. That's why they
They
keep
should.
losing
It'd be
in
nice
the
be nice to
playoffs.
have them. Be nice to
Yeah.
have them, but I just don't see them unless it's a bigger name. I don't see anybody coming in and commanding those targets.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just continue on to cut off Bill. Sorry. My bust is going to be Garrett Wilson. Way too high. Makes no sense. We're gonna get in later about his quarterback's problems, but he's just another guy that tons of talent. But is he really a 1? Is he really a 2? Is he really like fully committed through all the games? Like I could just see him being like drafted and you just have him there, and then halfway through the season he gets traded to a contender, and then you like like a George Pickens sort of situation. But
Yeah,
that's kind of hopeful, wishful thinking. But drafting him 14, like he's right behind George Pickens according to
yeah,
ESPN. AJ Brown, George Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith is now a 1. Zay Flowers is a 1. Ted McMillan's a 1. Like you got all
yeah.
these guys, and he doesn't belong with them at all.
I think the biggest thing with Garrett Wilson is Garrett Wilson's going to see over 150 targets this year, easily. So 150 targets, he's getting over 100 receptions if he's healthy. And with that is going to come all the red zone opportunities, unless Brees Hall is stealing them through the air or on the ground, which I doubt. So I just think that he's going to get there on volume. Regardless of anything else, he's just going to get so many targets.
Yeah, and I could see Brees Hall doing the Jets dirty. He got paid, and I could see him slacking off. That would be such a Jets thing to do, to pay your running back and have him just have a mediocre
Well,
season right
they've
after.
already come out. They've already come out and said for the second year in a row that they really want to run a 3-headed attack at running back, which is crazy after bringing back Brees Hall and doing all that. And so, like, they have Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Braylon Allen is kind of legit as a backup, I guess. Isaiah Davis is whatever to me. So, but to bring in Brees Hall back and then to be like, we really want to run a triple-headed, running back system, which has never worked. Like, that's
You're
just so
just not telling
insulting.
me those names for the first time. So
Braylon Allen's a fun one. He came into the league as a rookie last year. I think he's the youngest player in the NFL ever, or something close to it. He was 20 when he came in, and he's this absolute monster of a man. And training camp reports are saying that he's going to try and come into the league this year at 250 pounds, which as a running back is just terrifying because he's 6'1". So if he really put on that much muscle, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, it is muscle. And with being 20 years old, you really can develop your body like that at a young age, at a younger age like that. So if he does come in like that, that's going to be terrifying. But yes, to your point, I could see Brees Hall not being happy with the situation even after getting money.
yeah. So my wide receiver bust, just real quick, I've talked about him plenty of times on this podcast before, so I won't beleaguer it, but it's DK Metcalf. I'm not a believer in DK Metcalf as the receiver, especially not anymore. Aging, he's starting to get a little older, especially like those freak athletes don't necessarily continue producing the older they get because their skill set diminishes more than like a true route running artist like the guy out in Seattle.
Ugh, gross. Don't bring that nickname up ever again. Emerald City Route Artist.
Yes, sir.
Yep. No, that makes sense. Yeah, DK is 28, and yeah, and again,
That's
as we talked
old.
about, he runs 3 routes. So yeah,
I
I can
am
see that.
curious about Mike McCarthy's offense, because one thing it is good for is throwing the ball a lot. So
That's true.
I guess we will see how he's going to fit into that role, especially with Michael Pittman now. I feel like they both do the same thing pretty well. So it's like,
Yep. Pick
how
up
is that going to
Jeremy.
work? So yeah, that was an interesting addition by them.
Yep. So the last one here is going to be the tight end position. I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to explain it because I don't need to explain it. My tight end bust is Kyle Pitts. There you
No
go.
way.
That's mine too. I agree.
Why?
Because most people don't take until year 17 to figure it out at a position. So I don't want Kyle Pitts. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to get suckered into thinking every week that he's going to have one good game and then I'm going to be starting him for the next 5 weeks trying to chase that high. I don't want to play that game. I hate it so much.
Yeah, Penix like never throws to tight ends. Tua never throws to tight end. So yeah, unfortunately, I can see the Kyle Pitts bust coming along
Except
quick.
for that one year where all of a sudden Tua was only throwing it to Geno Smith for the entire season.
Yeah.
And I think it was because they were trying to keep him out of concussion protocol. So get the ball out as fast as you can to either Devon Achane, Jesus Christ, I almost said ETN, or
Is he related to Travis Etienne?
or Johnny Smith. So yeah, I just don't like the outcome there. And yeah, keep me away from Kyle Pitts. No thanks.
Or Trevor Etienne?
Oh, brother.
Yeah. So my bust, we've talked about him. George Kittle. I would stay away from him as much as I can, at least this year. See what he looks like. Who knows? An Achilles at that age, at that position, that might be it for him as far as like being that freak talented tight end that he's always been, but now
Yep.
Might be a step slower and everything kind of he can always get schemed open with Shanahan, but yeah, that can only take you so long for so far, I just think it's gonna be a tough year for him to come back from that.
That's fair. All right, Bill, let's hear why Gadsden's going to be your tight end bust.
I don't have much hope or thought process on the Chargers tight end room. I think it's going to be a tight end room by committee, and I think I wouldn't draft any of them. Because it's going to be a tight end room by committee. So already a kind of paltry position, and now you're going to be playing the magical chairs of who do I start this week? And I don't think any of them are good enough to consider drafting when they're splitting a position that doesn't need to be split for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, that's fair. The last thing I want to touch on I had talked about last week, if you're drafting in the later rounds to really look for some upside picks because, they might fizzle out and be worthless. And then you can drop them when you go to inevitably pick people up on the waiver wire anyway, but they could hit and provide a lot of value for your team. And what you're looking for in these you're not looking for somebody to come out of nowhere and be your number one. You're looking for somebody that you draft late that can be a close to every week starter in your flex spot. So I want to be abundantly clear with that. You're not trying to find a superstar here. You're trying to find somebody that you can see a path that's going to get a lot of involvement, or their talent is simply going to make them climb that roster faster than everybody else, that depth chart. So I'll just kind of spit off all my names here all at once, and I just get an idea what you guys think and what you like or don't like in those, either with these specific players or with the points that I'm bringing up. So my upside shots are going to be rookies are great for this. Rookies tend to come on a little bit later in the season. Antonio Williams on Washington, as we already talked about. Dave mentioned it when he was talking about Jaden Daniels not playing well because they really don't have anybody there, especially at wide receiver. So that's where I think a rookie can step in and get a lot more targets than you would expect. So Antonio Williams is one of them. Same thing with Trey Tucker and Jalen Nailor on the Raiders. That offense is going to have to compete at least a little bit, and somebody is going to have to catch the ball there outside of Brock Bowers. So I don't know if I want to take a shot on Trey Tucker or Jalen Nailor. Probably Jalen Nailor because they specifically paid him rather than having drafted Trey Tucker and keeping him there. But that's probably worth a shot at some point. Keaton Mitchell on the Chargers is another one where I don't even think that Omarion Hampton has to go down for Keaton Mitchell to be relevant. I think that Keaton Mitchell is just so electric. He's still an incredibly fast running back. And with Mike McDaniel's offense, I think that he can play really, really well, even if Omarion Hampton doesn't go down. But if Hampton does go down, I think that really paves the way for Keaton Mitchell to explode. It might be Kamani Vidal, but I really think it's going to be Mitchell there.
I was going to say that. I think even if Hampton goes down, I think obviously Mitchell will see a usage bump, like a significant one. But I still think Kamani Vidal is probably your normal first and second down back. Obviously splitting more with Keaton Mitchell than Omarion Hampton should be, presuming he's healthy. But and Omarion Hampton, he was hurt a couple different times last year. But he doesn't have a crazy injury history from college. It was just a couple nagging, an ankle sprain, and I think it was just an ankle sprain, both injuries last year. I know it was in the playoffs, but So I don't know about Keaton Mitchell there, but I can hope as a Chargers fan.
Right. The two other names that I want to bring up, Tank Bigsby is a really good insurance back if you have Saquon, because again, I think if Saquon goes down, Tank Bigsby is stepping into a role with a really good offensive line and a team that likes to run the ball. So I think that's huge. And then finally, Rashid Shaheed, obviously he got paid to come back and play on the team, and his only competition for targets is going to be JSN, or outside of JSN is going to be Cooper Kupp and AJ Barner at tight end. So
Jake Bobo.
Rashid Shaheed's another one that can do really, really well. I'm not really going to put any stock into, people like to be like, oh, he's on special teams, maybe he'll return a punt or a kick for you. Well, can't really count on that at all. It's just kind of a little bonus. So that doesn't really play into it for me at all. But for a team that just won the Super Bowl, kind of being their guy, unless Torrey Horton, their rookie from last year, explodes, Rashid Shaheed should see a lot of looks.
Absolutely. Another couple names, just going on your concept of rookies. So Jeremy Bernard, who I brought up a couple times, and then who I brought up last week, Mekhi Lemon. I think with Devonta Smith being the true number one there, and him being the body type that he is, I think leaves the door open. Even though Mekhi Lemon's not a big guy either, but leaves the door open for Mekhi Lemon to really excel. And I was giving David crap about the mini camps earlier, but if you watch Mekhi Lemon in some of those speed drills that are coming out of the Eagles camp, like he is kind of that next level quickness, that next level I don't know, get off the line velocity style wide receiver. So I could see him putting up some decent numbers even with Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball.
So unfortunately for you, the whole rest of the world has seen that and also agree, because he's getting drafted in the very beginning of the 8th round. He is a
Jesus.
very popular pick.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
people like what
Never
they
mind.
say.
Yeah,
He was a
name
good
I'll
thought
throw out
process,
there.
though.
Yeah, name I'll throw out there is Carnell Tate for the Titans. Same thing as like Mekhi Lemon. All the videos coming out of training camp like show he's by far the best they have, and they definitely need help there. So he's going to be seeing a lot of looks. Dayball is the OC now, so I mean, definitely a overqualified coordinator. So there's a lot to like.
Carnell Tate's getting drafted in the 6th round. Terrifying.
Ooh,
But
yeah, still.
Selling that too.
yeah, that's the thing. Like,
give me Jeremy undrafted.
Yeah, I was gonna say rookies. You never know too, because we could get into our draft and a bunch of people haven't heard of these rookies and don't care, and you just see them slip and slip and slip. So you never know.
Hopefully.
That pretty much wraps it up for me. Unless you guys want to add anything, or if you have any other fantasy questions while I'm here.
Yeah, I had one question. I kind of teased it last week. Not even a purposeful tease. I was just like, I'll save it for next week. So this is kind of going back on last week's draft strategy as opposed to this week's names. But do you ever focus on bye weeks? Because I know there's 3 prevailing strategies that I know of, which is you draft to compensate your bye weeks so that you're kind of like all over the place, lumpy bye weeks. Then there's you try and stack your bye weeks. So you have just one bye week that you're pretty much just giving up a loss and admitting like, okay, everybody's out like week 9 as much as you can. I'm not saying you overdraft a person for it, but like if it's a tiebreaker. And then the third one, which is you truly just draft best position, you almost like put on horse blinders for bye week. So what's your stance on bye week drafting?
So for me, it's definitely option 3. I draft with absolutely no thought of bye week in mind whatsoever. I draft specifically the players that I want to draft. And then as soon as week 1 starts, I'm looking towards week 4 or week 5, I think it's week 4 that the bye weeks start, and I start planning for them. So I don't care about bye weeks at all during the draft. And then I immediately care a lot about them for the whole rest of the season. So when I'm drafting, no, I don't care. But then I am looking and seeing, okay, who do I have on my team? What do those bye weeks look like? And what do I need to do? Because not just to replace the players that are on a bye, but if I have like a flex player that I would normally start and he's a wide receiver and going against the toughest wide receiver matchup, defense related, like in the entire NFL, I have to find somebody to cover the buys and then probably also take over that flex spot because I'm not going to want to play that position there either. So lots of planning going into that for me, especially if you find yourself later in the season needing to win games to get into the playoffs. You really got to play those bye weeks as well as you possibly can to make sure that you're winning those games to get in. So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't look for it, but once I have my team, it's a very important thing that I do look at week to week.
Fair enough. Any questions, Dave, before we wrap it up?
Nope, I am all set.
All right.
Excellent. So that was JMO's easy and reasonable keys, interesting names and goals on fantasy football.
Still don't get why
Next
you
up
read it
is-
like that.
Next up is hot topics. This first one is words, and they definitely mean something, but they don't mean something to me. So, JMO, would you like to take over?
I hate everything about you. When we disband this podcast, which hopefully happens in the next couple weeks, I hope to never talk to you again. Yes.
you too.
So the United States in the World Cup,
Say it back.
and I'm not going to say it back. The United States is going on an absolute tear. They have won 2 games in a row, which is the longest winning streak. Yep, the longest winning streak they've had since 1930. There's probably like 40 or 50 years that we didn't even qualify for the World Cup in between there, including, was it 2018? Yeah, that was gross. But yeah, so they won their group and they still have 1 game to go, which is phenomenal for them. So they will be advancing and playing some more football, which I'm really excited about. So good job on them. Yeah, good job on them.
Did they finally make the World Cup good? Is it really football now?
Yeah, it's football with the game that you play with the ball with your foot. So shout out to them. Really excited. Happy to watch them. You know, this World Cup's been a lot of fun to watch, but specifically seeing the United States win 2 games in a row like that and in the fashion that they did, it's just fantastic. So good for them. And I'm at least going to keep rooting for you.
Yeah. I saw something today where if they win their next game and Iran wins their next game, they play each other. And then the winner gets the Strait of Hormuz.
That might be on the table with the way that governments have been acting lately. That might be on the table.
It probably makes the most sense out of everything that's going on, you know.
I think it's slightly better than a game of rock, paper, scissors. So
yeah.
I support 2 soccer teams, West Ham United and España. Go Spain.
Nice. That's really, yeah. I know that you and I have talked at length about how much you love Lamine Yamal at 18 years old, just dominating on the pitch, and he's one of your favorite players. So yeah, good pick. Good job.
Absolutely. Thank you. So deep cut. So the next hot topic is Geno Smith. So we teased it a little bit earlier, but Geno Smith got put on blast by, I'm going to use this term because based on all the reporting outlets I've seen, it seems the most likely term that most people would be understanding of. But I'm just going to say his baby mama. I don't know. I don't think it's wife. I don't know the connection anymore. But anyway, so his baby mama put him on blast on Father's Day and said, Geno Smith just beat my ass because he doesn't like taking care of his special needs kid. He just wants to watch porn all day and play Call of Duty. So obviously some of that is just like, okay, whatever. But are we gonna see maybe some charges pressed, some domestic abuse case scenario on Geno Smith? Maybe, maybe not. But it's just, it's obviously a hot topic. Just another good guy in the NFL. Now, could this also just be someone chasing clout too? But who knows? But it's just an interesting. There's never a dull day in the NFL for domestic violence, and
like, I mean, it was definitely. I shouldn't use the term funny because it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. The video of that when she's walking around and yelling at him and they're going through the house. If you look at the video, they go through his garage. He's got like a utility sink in there. And in the utility sink, there's There's just an AR-15 just sitting there, and I'm like, brother, like, what are you doing? Why is that there? So that was really funny. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest story out of all this for me is like watching porn all day and playing Call of Duty. It just sucks to see other people living out your dreams. You know what I mean? So now, I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. It's like one of those things where, none of us are here to victim blame for sure. We want to take everything seriously, and hopefully the judicial system can figure out what needs to happen here, get all the facts, and move accordingly. But it's one of those things. It's like if it is all true, it's really unfortunate that it's coming out on Father's Day and whatever. It feels like a big media stunt on her end. It's like waiting for it just to bring it up then, and it's just that part kind of sucks. So, but again, we'll let the courts decide who's in the wrong here, what happened, how it happened, and whatever charges come of that. We'll keep you guys updated as we hear about it. But yeah, I don't know. This feels like one of those things that's somehow magically going to disappear by the beginning of the season.
Yeah, probably. Because in the video, she's yelling, like, running down the road, help me, help me, help me, help me. And then she just runs back into the driveway and,
Yeah.
Yeah, how's it
Well,
going?
there's a fire
yeah.
jumping in the fire. Yeah.
He's beating me.
Yeah.
And then he, like, runs back into the house, like, okay. But, yeah, maybe it's just
agreed
a
with
money grab.
Geno on not victim blaming, but yes, I agree. It seems like there's two sides to the story, and definitely for that one, yeah. So the next note and the last topics note, it's kind of been a quiet week in the NFL lately, and the Red Sox are awful. So so the last note that we have is just the Giannis trade scenario that is still forever eluding us. It hasn't fallen yet. Those
It's
chips,
gaining steam.
Woj
Like the
bomb.
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Woj is retired. Shams dropped something earlier today saying the Bucks are going to trade him by Tuesday before the NBA draft is the likely scenario. Two teams are leading the way, the Heat and the Celtics. The Celtics are the favorite because they are trading or offering, let's say, Jaylen Brown, Hugo Gonzalez, and limited draft capital. The Heat are offering Hero, Ware, Jaquez, and multiple first-round picks. So they want Giannis out. They want talent back, and their best option right now is Boston.
I think the Heat give a pretty good option there. I mean, I don't know. I think I like the Heat side more than anything there, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
I think they want Adebayo if they were to do a deal with the Heat. That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah.
But the Heat just won't give him up. But at least the Celtics,
Right.
I mean, Jaylen Brown could lead the Bucks to the playoffs like next year if he's on their team. So
yeah, but I don't. Is the rumor of a third team being involved done?
yeah, it's done because the Bucks want a star player back. So it's pretty much that's why they don't even think the Heat have a chance because they're not giving up a star. But the Celtics, they initially were.
I wouldn't give up Bam either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either
because I think it makes you better, but it doesn't make you better enough. And
hopefully
the draft starts tomorrow. So
So when this comes out, hopefully it's be like AJ Brown where we speak it into existence and it happens.
Right. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Also, side note that I didn't know, I knew that Woj retired from ESPN. I didn't realize that he left to be the general manager of St. Bonaventure University and their basketball team there. So that's kind of cool. Good for him.
Yeah, he just does little side hustles.
This is the first time Bill's ever heard the term St. Bonaventure. The Bonnies, baby.
That is absolutely true.
Not a big Bob Lanier guy.
Hopefully the last. Hopefully the last. So moving on, we are done with Master Debater for this offseason. The 2026 offseason. I was strong-armed into it. I would do it forever. I have so much fun with Master Debater. But I would like to announce the standings.
Oh, here we go. This is why you want it. Yeah, I do it forever because I just keep winning, man.
No, I enjoy the concept a lot.
You are a very good arguer, so.
In last place, with a record of 4-7. Although to be fair, it'll make sense in a second. It's Jeremiah, 4-7.
You gotta
in
lose
second
sometimes, okay?
place with a record of 4-6. So maybe not quite fair because you didn't play the same amount of games. But technically a better winning percentage is Dave.
Nice.
Hey,
J-Mo, you
like the
suck.
Patriots, you got to play the schedule that you have.
Yeah, that's right.
Cupcake. And I am a victor with a record of 8-3. Should be 11-0, but whatever. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Can't win them all.
Unbelievable.
I could have.
Shooters get cold.
I'll do better next time. Shooters do get cold.
Ice cold.
So
All
next
right,
up
all right.
is David's Cookie Corner. Did we actually land on the moon? Was the CIA responsible for the assassination of JFK? Are boobs real?
I'm still waiting for the answer on that one.
The people yearn for answers, and David will try his best to provide them in this off-season segment.
Hello. So,
Hi.
you guys
Hi.
asked for it. Birds, they are real, okay? But
Aw.
they've been tampered with in
Damn
some
it.
ways. So, yeah. So for quite a while now, the CIA has been putting like cameras and listening devices into various animals, and pigeons being very popular. So that's why a lot of people think pigeons are fake. Along with the
Have you ever
drones
seen
you
a baby
see.
pigeon?
No, I never have. Have you? Have you ever seen like a pigeon's nest? Because I never have. I just see them like full
Why do
adults.
they sit on? Why do they sit on the wires? The
So they
electrical
can
wires.
charge.
They gotta recharge.
Oh shoot, you got me. But yeah, so I just Googled like CIA animal spies, and like a couple things popped up that is kind of funny. So I'll just go over them. So in the 1960s, Operation Acoustic Kitty occurred. It was an attempt to covertly listen in on Soviet officials. The CIA spent 5 years and an estimated $20 million in the 60s to transform cats into spies. Vets implanted a microphone in the cat's ear canal, a radio transmitter at the base of its skull, and an antenna in its tail. The project was abandoned due to the difficulty of training cats to ignore distractions and do what their handlers wanted. Have they
And
ever
all those
dealt with a
cats.
cat? Like,
Yeah. I was going to say, and every single one of those cats somehow died of cancer.
yeah, right.
Huh.
Yeah, I was listening
Damn,
to a
that's
podcast
awesome.
and he brought this up and he was like, yeah, the cats would like see a bird or a mouse, and just chase,
Yeah.
get off the job. Like,
I
yeah.
just, I can't. It's so funny. Imagine being in a room filled with very important people, and you're like, "What animal should we choose that we think we can train?" And somebody's like, "A cat," and everybody was like, "Yeah." Like,
Yeah, right.
what?
Then you put like
The next
microphones
step is like
all
a
over it.
toddler.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have a fun one for Bill's Cookie segment
Yeah, I got more of these.
spin-off of David's
Shut up.
Cookie Corner.
Yeah.
What's that?
I got a couple more to go through.
Okay, go.
That wasn't my only
I'll
one.
save mine for the
Yeah.
end.
Project Takana was 1970s. A more successful avian program that used pigeons. The CIA created a tiny lightweight camera that the birds could carry on their chests because pigeons are incredibly common and blend in everywhere. They're perfect for flying over and taking remarkably clear photographs for the Soviet Union. Project Charlie.
Yep.
In the 1990s, the CIA developed Charlie, an advanced robotic catfish designed to covertly gather acoustic intelligence equipped with an internal microphone and a propulsion system hidden in its tail. That's kind of crazy. A fake fish swimming around.
That is absolutely crazy.
See how that goes into Project Aquiline? The agency also tested other birds, including red-tailed hawks, ravens, and other cockatoos, to carry cameras or plant listening devices in sensitive locations. That's crazy. And so, yeah,
Huh.
next one is marine mammals. So, U.S. Navy and Ukrainian
Damn.
military have trained dolphins and beluga whales to detect underwater mines, guard restricted ports, or recover lost objects. So, yeah, that's kind of all I found just quickly as I was Googling it. But
Okay. So mine touches on that last one. So this is 100% verifiably true. So we have the nuclear triad, we the U.S., where there are three ways of delivering a nuclear missile to where we want it to go.
if you
There
say
is-
pigeons, I'm closing my laptop.
Nope.
Just a bunch of
there's
pigeons.
there's the missile silo. There is airborne, which is dropping it from a plane. And then there's the nuclear submarines. So there are submarines that are capable of shooting off nuclear missiles. we have those nuclear submarines various places on Earth. That's extremely classified. Those nuclear submarines, when they're in port, are guarded by dolphins and sea lions.
Sea lions? Yeah.
And the dolphins will swim up and stun any like scuba diver or anything trying to get in. And then they let the sea lions know, and then the sea lions will attack and kill whatever the dolphin stunned. And that is just like insane.
So cool.
And I learned about
crazy.
that from a YouTube channel that I shouted out a few weeks ago, which was Dive Talk, where they talked to one of the like Navy SEAL divers that actually trained those dolphins and sea lions. So absolutely just insane. The intelligence of those animals to like be able to tell friendly versus foe in the water, and then to be able to send the message up to the sea lions for the sea lions to finish the
I
job.
thought you were gonna say that the dolphins were gonna sexually abuse people because they're known for doing that.
They do that too.
I have heard that.
I mean,
too.
just imagine like you're given your mission and you're just swimming around. You're like, all right, I'm gonna sneak up on this base, and then you just get headbutted by a dolphin over and over, and then you just see this fat Andy Reid swimming towards you, coming to eat you. Like that sucks.
Big Red.
That's not part of the deal.
Oh,
that's tough.
So that's a bad way to go.
Verifiably true. We are guarding nuclear submarines with multiple species of trained marine mammals.
See, I think we can go in the opposite direction. Have my Bernese Mountain Dog sitting there because no, he's not going to attack you or kill you, but he's going to roll over and look at you until you pet him, and you can't not pet him. And then when you stop petting him, he's just going to paw at you. So you're you're stuck there for at least 5 minutes, and then somebody's coming over and murking you.
Fair enough.
Oh man,
okay,
that's fun. So basically, all I heard was birds used to be real.
Yeah,
now birds used to be real. They've been slowly replaced one by one.
Cats are real now. They used to be fake. That's
Cats
crazy.
are just dicks, and they don't care about your wars.
Putting antennas in their tail, like it's the most like crazy thing I've ever heard.
I think it's safe to say this was my favorite Kooky Corner yet.
Yep.
On to anything else. JMO, why don't you enlighten us? What's your anything else?
Probably something to do with sleep. Should be in there. My anything else is golf tournaments are fun, and it stinks when you have friends that actively hate you and choose not to go to them with you. So that's another little deep cut there, but apparently they had other things going on, so only one member of this podcast was at that golf tournament, but I had a lot of fun. Golf tournaments in general are a lot of fun. Usually they're put on by charities, so buy some raffle tickets and win some stuff, and it all goes back to charity, which is really good. This is kind of crazy. So in this particular one, I've been doing this tournament for a long time. In the last 4 years, I have won 3 gift certificates, all to a local jeweler in town. So when people are like, how do you get your wife to agree with you going out golfing all day and being gone all day? Well, every single year, for the most part, I'm coming home with a $150 gift card for her to go get new jewelry. So that's how that happens. But it's just one of those things that, they give out like 50 or 60 things every year, and there's like 2 or 3 of these gift cards, and I seem to win it every year. And there are plenty of other things that I'd like to win, like clubs and golf bags and beer related items and coolers and like all kinds of fun stuff. But no, I just get the jewelry gift card every time and bring it home to my wife. So
sounds like somebody's rigging it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Oh well.
And I will defend myself. It was literally my son's first birthday.
Your son will literally not remember his first birthday. Who cares?
We also had a party, but yes.
You don't like people.
You were invited to.
What are you talking about?
One member of this podcast was at my son's party.
Well, all right. Tell you what, when your son grows up, I'll ask him if he remembers which one was at it.
He wouldn't have remembered me going to the golf tournament.
Because no, don't worry about
it. David, over to you.
All right. So last week was bike week up in Laconia, so I went to that. But I mean, it's fun to like just drive around, like look at bikes and all that. But I mean, it's kind of a shame into where like the whole thing is going. Like now it's just like everything's so expensive and like the food's expensive, the shirts are like everything is ridiculous. And yeah, just a lot of people. But like another thing is too like 10 years ago or so, like there's a bunch of vendors everywhere. But you used to be able to get like a deal on stuff for your like your motorcycle. Like if you wanted like windshields, like parts, accessories, whatever. So yeah, there used to be like bargains, like sales, this and that. Now everything's just like full price, no sales. You just like get a deal on labor because like you're there, they'll install it for like a whatever, sometimes free. But that's pretty much like the only deals that are like out there is like you spend a couple grand and it's like, oh, I get it put in for free, and half the time it's just like hacked in because it's the quickest thing to do. So yeah, I guess it's just a shame into like the direction it's heading versus what it used to be, and yeah,
Yeah.
just everything's expensive. So it's
Right,
just like a
exactly. You're
t-shirt
going
grab
in.
now. Everyone just goes up there and just goes crazy for shirts and yeah,
Yeah,
all
paying
that.
$40 for a T-shirt that's just getting a logo pressed onto it. Like, yeah, that's annoying. Have you ever been out to Sturgis for?
I have been to Sturgis, but I haven't been there for the rally. But everyone says it's the best by far. And like obviously the
Yeah,
riding out there is incredible because you got like needles, a bunch of like riding enthusiast riding roads like that. Um, Needles highways out there, and that kind
yep,
of is close to Mount Rushmore. So there's a lot of like cool like roads in general. And it's all like mountainous, and then yeah. So I could see that being awesome. But I've been to Americade, which is kind of like a newer upcoming thing, and that's in Lake George, which Lake George is beautiful. The whole area is beautiful, but that's even worse of a money grab because there is a strip like the Weirs has, but you have to pay to park, and then you have to pay to like get into the vendors. Where at least Laconia, all that stuff's free, which I
yeah,
guess that's kind of nice. But yeah, just spent way too much money on stuff that shouldn't cost that much money. Just food and
yeah,
beer and the
right.
necessities.
There was food
Yeah,
for
if you,
free at my house if you came to the party.
that's true. If you, yeah, I mean, if you go and you're like, all right, I got me and my wife and a little one with me, let's go and grab some lunch, and you order your lunch, and you give them a $50 bill, and they don't give anything back to you. That is not fun. That
Yeah,
sucks.
Actually, it's an extra $27.95.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It was like a
gross.
Coors Light was like $7 at one of the places. It's like I thought beer was cheap.
Just get a
Why is
water.
everybody getting
It's the
drunk in
same
the
thing.
parking lot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what are you bringing nips? But I guess I missed the party.
Nips? I'm in.
Nips, doctor.
So my anything else this week is I've tried. We're now on our fourth attempt to get through The Sopranos. I can objectively tell that it's a good show. I can enjoy the plot lines, but I've been ruined, and I feel like a lot of us have been ruined by like new age TV, which is so much faster and still pretty deep like storytelling, but putting every like major plot line that's happened in the first 4.5 seasons, which I think is how far we are into The Sopranos, like putting that down on paper compared to like Game of Thrones by episode 3 is just it dwarfs it. And it's not like Game of Thrones isn't building deeper webs or Breaking Bad isn't building deeper webs and having good storylines too. They do that too. But I think Sopranos and a lot of those old shows come from a time where like you can't kill off main characters because they spend so much time investing in them. And that's been bucked by, like I said, like the two that come to mind are Game of Thrones killing, spoiler alert, Ned or um
All
Breaking
the
Bad, where
stars.
I mean, people die in the first episode who you think might be
Right.
major people, and it just goes on, and then there's a new bad guy in season 2, and then there's a new bad guy in season 3. Like
Yep.
it's just it's that slow burn that I wish I could still enjoy, but it's like I said, when I'm watching, I'm like, objectively, this is a great show, but I just my attention span isn't there. I can't sit through 2 episodes that are like slowly moving the needle down.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to go. It
Don't
just
blame
it
me.
sucks because I wish I could enjoy it.
Yeah, I watched House of the Dragon today because it came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That started off very well.
No spoilers. I haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no, me
started
either.
watching Dutton Ranch, which is like the Kip and Beth spinoff. It's actually like more like Yellowstone than like all their other stuff that they're doing, which
Yeah.
it's getting slowly like introducing the plot, this like the characters, all that. But it's so far it's been pretty good.
That's good. I got a little lost on Yellowstone. I think I made it to like season 4 or something, and it was just like, it's just too much. It's like every single time it was like, all right, somebody new, something crazy happens, big explosion, everybody survives, and I don't know. It just got predictable. I was kind of over it. But yeah, Bill, I definitely know what you mean. Same thing with the slow burn things, and it's just like, it's tough, especially because a lot of TV shows will do like, I watched Supernatural and I love that show. I don't think that they needed to keep it going for as many seasons as they did, but they would do like, they'd call it Monster of the Week, where for a lot of the seasons, each week would have its own standalone adventure thing that they were going after, and then also building on some plot lines, and then some episodes would be just those plot lines. But their most popular things were when they had that whatever of the week, and there's a lot of TV shows in general that'll do that, where it's like whatever the main focus of the TV show is, you get a new thing each week that's kind of starts and ends in the episode, and then some deep stuff along there. But if it doesn't do that, if it's just a bunch of webs of deep stuff and then nothing's happening, it's just like, yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of like that old sitcom style. Like one of my
Yeah.
favorite shows of all time is House MD, and that's kind of like that.
Yep.
Right? Like
Right.
every episode is episodic. It has its own beginning, middle, and end of the episode, but you're also slowly advancing bigger storylines, and that's a lot easier to rewatch or watch now because you're still getting that quick hit of like finishing out that episode,
Right.
that like whole. Whereas like Sopranos, I just keep bringing it up. There's no like episode plot. It's
Yeah.
just slowly
Yeah.
advancing.
It's the longest movie you've ever seen broken up into a bunch of pieces. Yeah.
Right.
Have
And I
you
think, like,
have you ever seen Ozark?
yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ozark's
One of you
phenomenal.
should have given me Marty a few episodes back when we were doing the
Yeah. There you go. Marty Bird.
which character are you most like? I don't know. Whatever.
I liked Ozark, didn't love it. That was another one I couldn't finish. I like, for the most part, if you give me any TV show, and by the time I get to season 4, I'm over it for pretty much any TV show that's ever lived. But my wife really liked it. She watched it all the way
I
through.
loved Ozark. I agree with you. It like petered in like, I don't know, season. I don't remember how many seasons it is. Whatever the second to last season is wasn't great, and the beginning of the last season wasn't great, but it ended pretty well. So if
Yeah.
you ever get a chance to rewatch, I was gonna say I think another issue for especially the three of us is we're at a point in our lives where at least me, like I'm watching maybe 3 episodes of like full length TV shows a week. So
Yeah.
it's like if those aren't quick hitting or attention grabbing, it's like, why am I wasting my time with this? I could go watch a
Yeah.
Black Mirror, which is like
Exactly.
a short
The
movie
best
that's
single. Yeah.
phenomenal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. And that's why, like, for me, so it's just, so if I am going to watch some TV, obviously, like, Ted Lasso's coming out again, so that'll be fun. And I'll watch that. I don't expect it to be as good as the first 3 seasons. You know, it's kind of it's going to be different and whatever, but I'm sure that's going to be good. But just popping on some Rick and Morty or Archer or Bob's Burgers is just like, that's just so easy. That's
Archer's
just the way to
like the
go.
greatest background show of all time.
Yeah, it is. I love Archer.
Me too.
All right.
All right. Well, that will do it for us here on Context Matters. Thanks again to Hyatt Trucks. Check us out on YouTube at Context Does Matter and Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts at the Context Matters Podcast. Also follow along with us on Twitter at Context and Podcast and Facebook at the Context Matters Podcast, as we will be keeping the reactions and discussion going all off season long. Pretty soon we're going to be getting into the season. Reminder to email us at thecontextmatterspodcast@gmail.com. Your ideas, takes, or anything you want to see on the show. We still have a few slots open for the fantasy league, so just reach out to one of us or Facebook us or email us. Let us know you're interested. I'm Bill, along with David and JMO. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.